Well, guys,
Yo.
we're talking about confirmation bias. Just kidding.
And just in groups. And this is
groups
part of it.
Yeah, this is part of it.
How
Groups
pretty much any
cause
group
conflict.
cause chaos and just conflict and fighting.
and fighting.
Yeah.
So, boy, how are we going to attack this one?
Well, let's just start with a basic example, which is there's a really interesting study that it was conducted on like how groups see each other in a high school, just a standard high school group, no politics, nothing. Offensive.
Just do it.
So yeah, basically there was two groups. There was the white group and the black group, and this was in like at the South, so there was poor race relations, and they conducted a study on how the two groups saw each other. So when they asked the white group, like, how do you see your group versus the black group? The white group said, oh, in our group we have, the jock, the nerd, the different kinds of people, and like the hot girl or whatever. We have these different kinds of people. But that group, oh, they're just the blacks. They're all the same. Mm-hmm. But then when you went to the blacks, it was the same thing. Nerd, loser, hot girl, jock, whatever. And the whites are all the same. And
don't try and take this as a race thing.
No, this is just an example. I said it was like had nothing to do with anything offensive, but yeah, that's actually really offensive.
That is actually really offensive. But still,
you get the point.
We're not trying to make political statements.
Yeah, basically, groups tend to see the other group as just being the same and like they're all the same.
Inferior.
And they're all inferior, and then they see their group as like the group that's enlightened, or the group that has more diversity in it, like the people are different, but then the other group is all the same.
Exactly.
And based on the research I've done, I think that this is a major contributing factor to how war crimes and civilian massacres happen, is because they don't see the other side as human.
Mm-hmm. Now, let us go ahead and do as we did. Let us think critically.
Yeah.
Why? Why does this happen? Well, we could go super, super deep, but we're just going to talk about this. Why does this happen? And it's because they don't know the other side. They don't interact with the other side.
They only go in their group. They create an echo chamber where they all bounce ideas off each other until they all believe exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. And this is what happens, I think, in most groups, is that they grow more homogenous and more radical over time.
They do.
And they also see the other group as more radical than they are.
Yeah.
Like in politics, here we go, guys, politics.
Fantastic.
Is that, the Republicans, or just any group, I'll just say Republicans for an example, but Democrats do the exact same thing, is that everyone just bounces ideas off each other, and they start to think, oh, the other side, they're just stupid.
The liberals
are ruining this country. They're just misinformed. They're dumb. All these dumb college kids or whatever. And then, and they think that they look down on these people. These people aren't worthy of them. They're inferior.
Yeah,
they don't think at all. They're just dumb.
And the Democrats from the Republican view, the Democrats consist of young college kids or really old white dudes.
Pretty much. That's mostly young college kids is what I get.
Yeah, but still some older white dudes and stuff like
usually
that.
The one I hear, since we're in Republican families, our families are very conservative, but I hear this one a lot. It's like they've been brainwashed by the teachers.
Exactly.
The colleges have brainwashed them. And the Democrats believe the same thing about the Republicans.
And that the Republicans are just
they're just uneducated, or they live in the farmland. They're all rednecks. They own guns.
Yeah, they're all rednecks. They own guns, and they're super, or some of them are super rich. They're the rich white old dudes who never go out and stuff like that.
That kind of stuff.
And how the Democrats
rednecks are rich old dudes, pretty much.
Yeah, and how they view the the Democrats are the underdogs and they're fighting for more money and stuff.
Generally,
like that. Again,
we're not taking the rich ones as they're exploiting the common man, that sort of stuff.
Again,
Karl Marx. Anyway,
yeah, but we're not taking a side.
Yeah.
We think both sides are equally corrupt. I hate Republicans and I hate Democrats.
Yeah, I hate them both.
End of story.
I agree with George Washington. He said that political parties would only lead to chaos.
Mm-hmm, and he was right. And yeah, they have grown more corrupt over time.
Because a lot of the time, if you look at American history and most histories, is that there was different political parties, but now that we've had Republicans and Democrats for a really long time, they've existed for a long time.
They're the longest
They're
ones.
starting to grow more and more radical, like we said, and they're starting to hate each other more and more, and just the political divide is growing.
Yeah, and again, that's why. It's because they don't want to like see the other side, and they don't want to try and understand.
Yeah.
All they care about.
They just want to confirm their own beliefs.
Yeah, confirmation bias and stuff like that. They just want to confirm their own beliefs, but they don't want to look at the opposing side like it constantly in like politics. I always just view it as like they're like the Republicans on one side watching the TV, and then there's Democrats on the other side watching the other TV.
Yeah.
It's like one side is watching CNN and the other side is watching Fox News and stuff like that. That's just how I see it. And
they're just existing in the echo chamber.
Hate each other.
Because that's what the news does. It's like on Fox News 24/7, liberals, and then on CNN constantly Republicans, conservatives, Trump, bad. And then all these people, they just get it like etched into their brain that Trump bad, conservatives bad, Republicans evil, and then Republicans, Democrats bad, liberals bad, college evil.
Exactly. We don't think that Trump is bad. I think he's probably done some good things, but I don't think that he's a freaking saint.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's not a saint, and he's not Satan. Okay.
Yeah, he's not either side. It's not like, Trump does everything right. Trump. Praise be to Trump, who does everything and wants to stop
Trump is on the side of our Lord.
And Trump wants to stop the coronavirus scam and blah, blah, blah. And then there's
coronavirus,
it's like,
coronavirus isn't real.
Care. And then the other side's like, Trump doesn't actually care. What Trump says is blatantly racist.
Trump just wants people to die from coronavirus.
Yeah, and Trump wants to do less testing and blah, 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 blah. And it's just all noise. That's what I can, attribute, just groups and stuff like that. It's just noise.
And the radical beliefs grow over time.
Exactly.
I think a huge part of it is because moderate beliefs aren't as easy to latch onto. And it's very easy especially because radicals are more outspoken typically. Like Hitler or something. They're amazing speakers, and they're really good at convincing people they're right, or people that already have similar beliefs that they can make their beliefs trend in the direction of their own. So steadily, these radicals drag each side further away from each other, and moderacy decreases.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see this in pretty much anything, any community, elitists in any entertainment industry, anime, games, movies, etc.
The Halo community, the sprint side, the non-sprint side.
And the sprint side is like, they're sitting on their throne. Oh yes, these people don't understand.
These people don't. Again, I equate it to Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
There's the Republican side who's like, the sprint and stuff like that. Sprint is better. How could you play without the old sprint?
And then the other side is like, sprint is bad game design, blah, 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 blah,
blah, blah. We can't have sprint and blah, blah, blah.
Even though I agree more with the non-sprint side.
It's just an example.
It's not like, I don't, some people just have different preferences. Maybe they want sprint.
Okay.
It's not like they hate Halo because they want sprint.
Yeah, they just want to make the game better. Even though we've kind of been criticizing each side, still, at the end of the day, both sides want to try and make the country better.
Yeah.
They're not doing it, which is another thing. Each group view each other as evil.
They think each group in politics, they think each one of them hates America.
Mm-hmm. And they want it to burn and die.
This is one thing, I actually heard this on Fox News, and I almost laughed.
I'm sure the opposite is on CNN.
Yeah, I'm sure the same things, but this is just a real life example, is that I heard them say, it was the name of one of their segments or whatever, and they were like, liberals think they can run this country, but how can they run a country they hate? And it was so laughable to me. And it's like, gosh, no, fake. Everyone just wants to make the country better.
Yeah, nobody is coming at this from a side of evil. Everyone thinks that everybody else is pure evil.
Yeah.
Sure, I know, alright, this is gonna trigger some people. Hitler did some awful stuff. Alright, I'm sorry. And I'm but in his head,
he probably believed. Actually, he did believe it was right.
It was right. Now, we're not agreeing with him.
Yeah.
We're totally against this. We're totally against what he did. But still, he thought he was right.
I think that everyone believes they're right, but no one is able to realize that everyone believes they're right. For some reason, it's I don't know why, but people just don't understand that everyone believes they're right. And even people in this, even if you have some mental deficit or something, you still believe you're right, or some odd way of thinking because everyone has a different way of thinking that doesn't always line up with others. And so they can't really explain why they sometimes you can't really explain why you think something because your way of thinking is just fundamentally different than others.
You're just a different person.
And people just believes that because they can't understand another way of thinking because they think differently, is that's just evil or something like that.
Yeah, that's just evil. Which is, again, why I hate, like, this whole divide right now in the country. Again, Black Lives Matter. We're not going to get into that too much and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But still, what's happening is, while people are trying to, like, unite, but in trying to do that, they're also, like, crumbling against each other. There's the people who are like, oh, yeah, Black Lives Matter. And then there's the other people who say, like, all lives matter. And they're like, oh, you said all lives matter. That's so awful. That's so stupid. And then there's people who say, like... Oh,
you said Black Lives Matter. That means you don't think any other lives matter.
Yeah,
of course not.
Of course not. Again, we're not going to take a side. But still, like, they're just, like, again, they're trying... In the process of trying to unite, they're breaking apart.
And even within these groups, as we mentioned this in our video about Christianity, if that even came out yet, but basically there's, like, people who have slightly different opinions within a group, like in Black Lives Matter, some people might want to defund the police and some people might want to just get rid of the police or something. And those groups form different factions and then they start fighting. And it just causes more chaos. And these groups they just fight and cause chaos. There's
groups within groups. Like, freaking... All right, there's Lutheranism. There's Martin Luther. He was like, all right, Reformed. He came up with all these ideas. Boom, Lutheran Church. But then... little ideas, little tiny things created. Oh, the LCMS, the whales, the different, like, there's like 3 or 5 different like denominations of Lutheran, which is already a denomination. Like, there's so many just
and all these
groups
people
within groups.
Or not all of them, I won't say, but most of them, they don't get along very well. Even though they have very similar beliefs, they center around this one thing that is different. And then they don't get along.
And then that makes them different from the other person, when in reality, they're very similar.
And pretty much everything in the world exists on a spectrum.
Yes.
And you're like, autistic spectrum. No, just everything exists on a spectrum. Like, even just animals and stuff, there's like subspecies of animals, and there's a species, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate between them. And with languages, some languages are very similar, some have dialects that are almost the same, and you don't really know how to differentiate these things that are very similar, so you just add arbitrary lines to make it easier to understand. And that's the exact same way that these groups work.
Yes. All right. Now, this is something that I hate as well with groups, but we're going to try as our own group, or we're going to try and do what these groups don't. Lots of groups, a lot of the times, they don't provide a solution. They always point out what's wrong. The news always points out what's wrong with the other side. They always point out what's wrong, what needs to be fixed, and stuff like that. And so, we're going to try and talk about how to fix this. We want to provide a way to fix this. Now, obviously, we can't fix freaking America, all right?
We're
sorry,
fix human nature,
honestly. We can't fix stuff, but
I don't think there's anything that will ever be able to be done that will truly fix it, because that's just how humans are.
But I mean,
there are some things that can help.
Some things that we could take steps towards and stuff like that. Which, again, this is what I hate about groups as well, is that they never provide a solution to this problem. They say this problem exists. Okay, tell me how to solve it. Give me solutions and stuff like that. And I agree. We can't really ever fix this. This is just human nature. But I don't want to fall in the pitfall of just like, oh yeah, life sucks, humanity sucks, oh this is awful, America sucks, it's the worst place ever, and stuff like that. We're never going to fix each other and stuff like that. And the way to take steps is to have empathy. So yeah, having empathy, we got to go into the deep dive, logic dive into what empathy is. And empathy is being able to step in the shoes of another person, see what they're seeing, basically try and think about, okay, why is this person thinking
just
this way?
Just imagine yourself as being that person, if you can.
But yeah, just try and view yourself and have like compassion and just try and understand what they're going through right now.
And even if you can't understand how someone believes something or something, you just accept that they have a different opinion. It's just do that. Just do that much and just say, it's okay. You have a different opinion. Let's just agree to disagree.
Yeah, let's just agree to disagree. I would like that's some of the best ways to
we don't have
arguments.
To throw away our friendship because we have different political beliefs. No.
If again, because this happens, like if people threw away their friendships because they like disagreed on something. On
no
the
one would have
tiniest little
any
thing,
friends.
No one would have any friends and stuff like that. But yeah, just try and have empathy. We want some good. Again, obviously, we can't fix everything and stuff like that. But still, I don't want to be the type of person to say, "Oh yeah, we all suck. Everything sucks. We're
Everything's
trash. We won't provide a way to I saw this great analogy, and it was like, oh yeah, like groups do this. Groups do this all the time. They cause a fire, and then they're like, "Yo, look, there's a fire over there," and they say that there's a fire,
but they don't do anything.
But they don't say how to put it out. They don't give you the materials. They just say, "Hey, there's a fire. Look, there's something wrong." But
how long is this video? This is really long.
But either way, thank you so much for watching.
If anyone watched this video all the way to the end, thank you.
Leave your comments about your opinions and stuff. We'll try and see from your side if you have a different opinion and stuff. And
But if you just want to fight, if you just want to go to war or something, we're not going to participate.
That's again, like we pointed out in our Christianity video. It's just going to you already have your opinion made up.
Mm-hmm. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to cause more chaos.
Yep. All right. Well, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.